Hello everyone, welcome to Sam's Summaries. This episode is a deep dive discussion into Sam Fury's summary of the book Stress Management Tools by Sam Fury. It has been created with the help of AI. You can read the original summary at samfury.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. You know, we love to take these deep dives together, and today we're going to be looking at something that I think affects pretty much everyone listening. And that is stress and stress management and all that good stuff. You guys sent in a summary of a book called Stress Management Tools by Sam Fury.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a really interesting one. I mean, who doesn't need a little help with stress management these days, right?
Absolutely.
The book promises all kinds of things like practical strategies for handling stress, improving your well-being, and even boosting longevity.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty big claims, right?
Yeah, that's impressive.
So we're going to unpack all of that and see what really stood out to us from this book. And hopefully you guys can take away some helpful tips and tricks for managing your own stress. So
Sounds good.
let's dive in.
Yeah, one of the first things the book does is it kind of breaks down the different ways stress shows up because it's not always so obvious, you know?
Right. It's
Yeah.
not just that feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out.
Yeah, it can be like that kind of overwhelming feeling, but it can also be physical, like, heart racing, palms sweating, or even just things in your environment that are adding to your stress level,
Like what?
like a noisy workplace. If you're constantly bombarded by noise, that can definitely contribute to stress, or maybe a super cluttered workspace, or even just like a really long commute every day.
Okay, so it's not just the big things. It can be these little things that kind of chip away at you.
Exactly. And the book really stresses the importance of identifying your personal stressors, because what stresses one person out might not even phase someone else.
That's so true. Like, I know for me, deadlines are a huge trigger. Like, I start to feel that pressure building as soon as I see a due date looming. But I know other people who are totally fine with deadlines. They thrive under pressure. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is. And it's interesting how our bodies are kind of wired differently when it comes to stress.
Yeah, and the book actually goes into the science of stress hormones, which I found fascinating.
Oh, yeah, me too. It talks about how when we're stressed, our bodies release all these hormones like cortisol and adrenaline.
So it's like that fight or flight response our ancestors needed when they were running from saber-toothed tigers.
Exactly.
Sure.
But the problem is nowadays our stressors are usually not life or death situations. It's more like, traffic jams or work emails or, that never-ending to-do list.
But our bodies are still reacting the same way as if we were facing a real threat.
Right. And that's where things can start to go wrong. Because when that stress response is constantly activated, it can have some pretty serious consequences for our health, both physical and mental.
It's like your car alarm going off all the time. Eventually, the battery's going to die.
That's a perfect analogy. The book really emphasizes the importance of finding healthy coping mechanisms to deal with stress, because if we don't, it can lead to all sorts of problems.
It's like, what kind of problems are we talking about?
Well, on the physical side, chronic stress can contribute to things like heart disease, high blood pressure, weakened immune system, digestive issues, you name it.
Wow, so it's not just about feeling stressed out. It can actually make you sick.
Yeah, and it can even shorten your lifespan. The book cites studies showing that people who are chronically stressed tend to die younger.
Okay, that's definitely motivation to take this seriously.
Right. And it's not just physical health either.
Yeah.
Stress can really mess with your mental well-being too.
So we're talking like anxiety and depression and all that.
Exactly. Stress can contribute to all of those things, and it can also impair our ability to focus and think clearly, which can make everyday tasks even more challenging.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that when I'm stressed out, I'm way more likely to make mistakes or forget things. It's like my brain is just fried.
Yeah, it's like your brain is in overdrive trying to process all these stressful thoughts, and it can't keep up.
It's exhausting.
It is. And, one of the biggest stressors these days is technology. I mean, our phones are constantly buzzing with notifications, emails, social media. It's like we're never really off.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But
I feel like I'm constantly tethered to my phone. It's like I can't escape the digital world even when I'm trying to relax.
yeah, and the book actually talks about the importance of setting boundaries around technology use. It encourages readers to limit screen time, take regular breaks, and disconnect from the digital world as much as possible.
That sounds like a great idea in theory, but I have to admit I struggle with that. I'm so used to being constantly connected. It's hard to break that habit.
I know it is. It's a real challenge.
Yeah.
But the book makes a strong case for why it's so important for our mental health to give ourselves those breaks from technology.
I think we could all benefit from a little more digital detox.
Absolutely. And when we're stressed, it's so tempting to reach for those quick fixes like comfort food or a glass of wine or just zoning out in front of the TV.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally guilty of that. A big bowl of ice cream always seems like a good idea when I'm feeling stressed.
Yeah, but the problem is those are just temporary solutions.
Mm.
They don't actually address the underlying stress, and they can often create more problems down the road.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Exactly. The book really cautions against relying on those unhealthy coping mechanisms because ultimately they're not helping us manage stress in a sustainable way.
So what does the book recommend instead?
Well, that's what we're going to dive into next. The book offers a whole toolkit of healthy and effective strategies for managing stress, and we're going to explore those in detail.
Okay, I'm ready for some practical solutions. Bring on the toolkit.
Well, one of the first things the book talks about is the importance of your environment, like creating a calming space for yourself.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just about what's going on inside your head, it's about your surroundings too.
Exactly. It's about creating a sanctuary where you can de-stress and recharge.
So what kind of things does the book recommend for creating that kind of environment?
Well, it talks about decluttering, getting rid of all the stuff that's just adding to the visual noise.
Oh, yeah. I can definitely see how clutter can be stressful. It's this constant reminder of things you need to do.
Right. And it also talks about reducing noise, like maybe investing in some noise-canceling headphones or playing soothing music.
Ooh, I love that idea. Music can be so powerful for setting the mood.
And it also talks about surrounding yourself with things that bring you joy, whether it's plants or photos or, just little things that make you smile.
Yeah, I have a diffuser in my bedroom that I like to put lavender essential oil in. It's so calming.
Oh, that's nice. I love lavender too. It's like an instant relaxation boost.
Exactly. And speaking of things that can boost your mood, the book also talks a lot about social connections, like spending time with loved ones and building strong relationships.
Yeah, that's a big one. The book emphasizes how important it is to have a support system people you can rely on when you're feeling stressed.
It's like having a built-in buffer against stress, right?
Exactly. When you know you have people you can turn to, it makes those tough times a little bit easier to handle.
So it's not just about taking care of yourself physically and mentally, it's about nurturing those relationships too.
Absolutely. And the book encourages readers to think about who those people are in their lives and make an effort to stay connected.
Make time for those coffee dates or phone calls or whatever it is that helps you feel connected.
Right, because those connections are so important for our well-being.
And it's not all about relaxation and social time, right? The book also talks about the importance of physical activity.
Yeah, definitely. Exercise is a huge stress reliever.
I know I should exercise more, but sometimes when I'm feeling stressed, the last thing I want to do is go for a run.
I know what you mean. But
Yeah.
the funny thing is, even though it might feel like the last thing you want to do, exercise, actually helps to reduce stress hormones and boost those feel-good endorphins.
So it's like a win-win. You get the physical benefits and the mental benefits.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy intense either. The book talks about how even just a short walk in nature can make a big difference.
Okay, so I don't have to sign up for a marathon to reap the benefits.
Nope, just find something you enjoy, whether it's dancing, yoga, swimming, hiking, whatever floats your boat.
I think I could get behind that. And something else I've been thinking about is how what we eat affects our mood and energy levels.
Oh, absolutely. The book talks about the importance of a balanced diet for stress management.
So we're talking like lots of fruits and vegetables and whole grains and all that good stuff.
Exactly. It's about fueling your body with the nutrients it needs to function optimally.
And I'm guessing it also means cutting back on the junk food and processed stuff.
Yeah, the book definitely cautions against overdoing it on sugar, caffeine, and processed foods because those can actually make stress worse.
It's like they're adding fuel to the fire.
Exactly. And speaking of things that can add fuel to the fire, the book also talks about the importance of time management.
Oh my gosh, yes, time management is a huge stressor for me. I feel like I'm constantly juggling a million things and never quite catching up.
I hear you. That's a common problem. And the book offers some really practical tips for managing your time more effectively.
Okay, lay it on me. I'm
Yeah.
all ears.
Well, it starts with prioritization, like figuring out what's truly important and focusing on those things first.
So it's about being strategic with your time.
Exactly. And it also talks about setting clear goals, breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks, and using tools like to-do lists and calendars to stay organized.
Okay, that all sounds good in theory, but sometimes I feel like even with all the tools in the world, I still end up feeling overwhelmed.
I know it can be tough, especially in today's always-on culture, but the book emphasizes the importance of taking breaks and setting boundaries.
So it's about giving yourself permission to step away from the to-do list and recharge.
Right, because if you're constantly running on empty, you're not going to be able to manage stress effectively.
Makes sense. And, all this talk about time management and productivity has me thinking about those moments when you just need to calm down, like right now.
Yeah, those moments when you feel like you're about to lose it.
Exactly. Does the book offer any advice for those situations?
It does. It actually recommends something surprisingly simple: breathing exercises.
Breathing exercises. Really? I mean, can something that simple actually make a difference?
You might be surprised, but
Yeah.
it really can. When we take deep breaths, it sends a signal to our nervous system to calm down.
So it's like hitting the pause button on the stress response.
Exactly. And the best part is you could do it anywhere, anytime, no special equipment required.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a try. Do you have any tips for how to do it properly?
But the book suggests finding a comfortable position, closing your eyes if you like, and then inhaling slowly and deeply through your nose, filling your belly with air.
Okay, like this.
Yes. And then hold your breath for a few seconds
Yeah.
and exhale slowly through your mouth, letting go of any tension you're holding in your body.
Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this.
And you can repeat that several times, focusing on the rhythm of your breath and the feeling of your body relaxing.
Wow. I actually do feel a little bit calmer already. That's pretty amazing.
See, I told you it works. And the book also talks about another technique called progressive muscle relaxation, which involves tensing and then releasing different muscle groups in your body.
I've heard of that. Is it kind of like giving yourself a mini massage?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It helps to release physical tension, which can in turn help to reduce mental stress.
So it's about addressing stress from both angles, the physical and the mental.
Right, because they're so interconnected.
And speaking of interconnectedness, the book also talks about mindfulness and meditation.
Yes, those are becoming increasingly popular as stress management tools.
I've tried meditation a few times, but I have to admit I'm not very good at it. My mind just won't
Yeah.
stop racing.
I know it can be challenging at first, but like any skill, mindfulness takes practice.
So it's about training your mind to be more present and less caught up in all the thoughts and worries.
Exactly. And the book offers a variety of mindfulness exercises, so you can find one that works for you.
It's great that there's so many options. And speaking of options, the book also mentions alternative therapies like yoga, acupuncture, and aromatherapy.
Right. It's about exploring different approaches and finding what resonates with you.
It's like building your own personalized stress management toolkit.
Exactly. And one of the most interesting concepts in the book is this idea of hormesis.
Hormesis. That sounds intense. What is that?
It's basically the idea that exposing yourself to small, manageable stressors can actually make you stronger and more resilient in the long run.
So it's like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, kind of. The book uses the example of exercise. When we work out, we're putting stress on our muscles, but that stress is what makes them grow stronger.
So it's about challenging yourself in a healthy way.
Exactly. And the book suggests that the same principle applies to mental and emotional resilience.
So by facing our fears and stepping outside our comfort zones, we can actually build up our capacity to cope with stress.
Precisely. And the book emphasizes that this applies to kids too.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's about teaching kids healthy coping mechanisms from a young age.
Absolutely. It's about giving them the tools they need to navigate the ups and downs of life.
Because let's face it, stress is a part of life.
It is. But it doesn't have to control us.
And that's really the takeaway from this book, right? It's about empowering yourself to manage stress so it doesn't manage you.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you and making it a part of your daily life.
So much good stuff in this book. I mean, it really seems like the main takeaway is that stress management is not one size fits all. It's about finding what works for you.
Exactly. It's about building your own personalized toolkit.
Right. Like some of those things we talked about might resonate with some people, but not others.
And that's totally fine. The book encourages experimentation. Like, try different things, see what sticks, and then make it a part of your routine.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about finding what works for you and making it a habit.
Exactly. And it's an ongoing process. Stress management is something you have to work at consistently.
Yeah, it's like building resilience. It's not something you do once and then you're done.
Right. It's about equipping yourself with the tools to handle whatever life throws your way.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are some of the key things you hope listeners will take away from this book?
Well, I think the most important thing is just to remember that stress is a normal part of life. Everyone experiences it.
Yeah, it's not a sign of weakness or anything.
Right. And the good news is there are so many things we can do to manage stress effectively.
We talked about creating a calming environment, nurturing those social connections, getting regular exercise.
And don't forget those simple breathing techniques. They can
Yeah.
be so helpful in the moment.
Oh, yeah, those are a game changer. And we also talked about the importance of challenging those negative thoughts and exploring alternative therapies.
It's all about finding what works for you and making it a part of your life.
And remember, even small changes can make a big difference over time.
Absolutely. It's about building those healthy habits one step at a time.
So as we sign off, I want to leave you with one final thought. What's one small thing you can do today to prioritize your well-being?
It could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, or going for a walk, or calling a friend.
Yeah, anything that helps you feel more grounded and centered.
And remember, be kind to yourself. Stress management is a journey, not a destination.
So true. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into stress management tools. We hope you found it helpful.
And remember, you have the power to create a more resilient and joyful life.
That's right. Keep diving deep, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Sam's Summaries. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow, and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com to get free access to all of Sam's original summaries. You can also get any of Sam's books and other exclusive content. It's all completely free at samfury.com.